This is one of the monsters that when people talk about taming and owning monsters, he's one of the top ones. All of the Velocidrome style monsters are the ones that people always go to.
But
for some weird reason.
This guy specifically?
This guy and Velocidrome both, yeah.
Okay, they are both pretty colors.
Yeah, Velocidrome and him, I think, are the top two, and then people list things like the Great Jaggy is usually low on the list, I think, because nobody really likes Great Jaggy very much.
He's kind of an okay guy, but he makes too much noise.
Yeah, he also looks
he
kind
makes, like,
of
gorilla noises.
scrubby all the time. Like, in all fairness, he's awfully scrubby.
What's your number one you would tame if you could?
Probably Rathalos. I like Rathalos. Like,
I mean, that would be useful.
Don't judge me for that one.
It's
He's
traditional.
Cool. I mean, especially because we're assuming that you can't tame an Elder Dragon.
Yeah. I think that's a fair assumption. You can't even trap them. I'm gonna say I really like Epioths, which aren't in this game. They are basically just peaceful plesiosaurs.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I'm gonna say Baroth might be a good boy if you tame him. Because he doesn't even eat meat.
I mean, that's fair.
You just gotta deal with his rhino charge behavior.
Yeah.
But if you could, like, ride him, hook him up to a plow, he'd be a useful boy.
He could be a pretty nice monster, sure.
Yeah. I've always liked the idea of them giving you, like, an herbivore that's got, like, a pack on its back. There is a
monster. I don't think he appears in this. I could be wrong. He might appear in this. That was from one of the portable games that is kind of like a large cattle-style monster. He walks on two legs and has wings, but his entire back is rocky plates that have dirt and grass that has decided to grow.
Okay.
And he sometimes has trees growing off of his back and like vines and stuff. That's your one with the pack, I think.
No,
Okay.
not at all.
I'm sorry.
So what I was saying,
go ahead.
like an Aptonoth or something that's like, it's a weak little herbivore, but you've got something on its back that you could store extra items in. And then you have the challenge of, well, you've got extra inventory, so you can get more potions and you can put things away, which is obsolete in World because you can just go into your little tent.
Yeah.
But, like, just, it gives you the balance of, well, you have to protect it, but it's holding a bunch of extra bombs and traps for you. Like, I think that would be a neat little strategy thing, and then you would just have, like, a pet, like an Aptonoth or something.
I'd like to have pet monsters that just function as smaller versions of cats. Where you just have a baby version of a specific monster and it just follows you around. That's it.
Just imagine a baby Rathalos, like, in general.
Yeah, but
like,
then they wouldn't have armor, and I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Because at that point, they kind of just are the armor, kind of.
Maybe if they let you get, like, a single accessory, like, maybe that's how you know that's yours and not just some random wild thing.
I should point out, by the way, Genprey is identical.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's the same as the Gaiaprey, as the Velociprey. Like, they're the same, it's just a color variation. I just want to do this so that it doesn't say new forever. Oh, although we do get the weird disco suit version of it as well. We didn't pick up a head, so I don't think that there's a version of it in here for that. Like, Velociprey, by the way, at some point I picked up a drone head.
Nice.
So yeah, you could do this. By the way.
Very nice. I love how pissed off Ishizu looks under there.
She looks really angry.
You don't always see her angry eyebrows because her bangs get in the way, but that pulled her bangs back.
Yeah. It looks good. And then here's some feet.
Yeah. I like those.
I want to make sure that I can't forge any new great swords. I cannot. Can I upgrade any of these swords? Probably not, and that's probably fine. Yeah, alright. That's fine. Most of these take Beolite, which I think is a high rank thing, but you can get it in some low rank areas. It's dependent very much on like where you would like to go and how far into low rank you are. So I'm working on it, basically. Let's see here. I think this is not going to be the one. This probably won't be one of them, but it could be, potentially. This is definitely not. This probably isn't going to be. I'm going to guess it's some of these in here we're
I'd like to see the crab.
Yeah,
I've never
honestly,
seen
I'm going to do it anyway. This is not for big crabs, by the way. These are small crabs.
Still, I
They're
don't
cute.
think they
No,
appear
look,
in any of the games I've played.
I'm going to show them to you anyway.
Yeah.
That was part of the plan. I was going to go in here next.
Okay, cool.
When me sand skiff up and died on me, I buried all the edible cargo in the sand to preserve it. But some bloomin' hermitors went and sniffed it out. Can someone hold them off for me while I go and get my stuff?
Yeah, you should have done that with an accent.
Yeah,
But
I don't know
fine that
what
you didn't.
accent that would have been.
Well, who says bloomin'?
No one.
Okay. In the comments, let us know if you've ever said bloomin'.
I don't know
in
why
your life.
anyone would say bloomin'
where you're
in their
from.
entire life.
Is that Australian?
It might be an attempt at Australian, but that's very fake Australian.
It could be English. The two are often hard to remember as an American.
I don't think it is. Yeah, so we get Kelby here. What was the subquest on this one? Was it just
Apsaros liver.
Apsaros? Apsaros.
That's the herbivore.
It's
like an ankylosaur.
Yes, it is. Okay. It took me a second to remember. There should be some crabs in here. Hey! Big old crusty, cribbly crabs. Look at them. They're just big crabs. That's really all that
What's
it is.
that on the back? Like, is that like a monster bone?
So, they are supposed to be hermit crabs, but these ones in particular, I don't think you can really even tell what that is. It looks like a big horseshoe crab.
Huh.
And they're actually really weak, by the way. And yes, the blood splatter is blue. Which
That's
is
correct,
actually
right?
pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know what they're supposed to be. It just looks like a giant horseshoe crab, and it's nothing.
It could be like a Rathalos tail.
It could be.
Vaguely.
The weird thing about the crustacean style monsters though is that they are supposed to like pick up bones, like skulls and stuff, and live inside them. Mm-hmm. And yes, Caprician brains is one of the ones that you can pick up off of them. You get small Hermitor shells and Caprician brains, and I think that might be the only ones that you can have.
So that's your Apsaros.
Is it just livers? Okay, that's not too bad. I don't know why I'm actively going after organs today, like brains and livers, but okay. I'll
For
do this.
food.
Who wants livers?
Cats,
Is
probably.
it for food? Oh, hey. Interesting place for you to die, bud.
It's symbolic.
A little bit. It's very nearly the same. I don't believe that that's the same model, though.
No.
Is that 1 or 2 livers?
I think it was one.
Okay,
I wasn't
that's
paying
fine. I don't
super
care.
attention. I was trying to formulate some cool line about dying near the corpse of your ancestor, but I don't have a line.
Yeah.
Just assume I had something clever to say there. Maybe,
My ancestors are smiling upon me.
maybe
Hunter.
Somehow
Can
a
yours say the
Homestar
same?
Runner or Baby Cakes reference, because those are common for
That
me.
was a Skyrim reference.
Oh, I don't. Okay, I have not
It's
been
okay,
back to
it's okay, don't
Skyrim
worry.
since like September.
Apsaros liver, and can I get a second liver? Nope, monster bone. Ah.
They only have one liver per monster,
You
probably.
know what? That is super what you would expect, but sometimes the game will surprise you. 2 livers. Okay, I need one more. I have gone after popos in the past, which are those big half a woolly mammoth monster. And those have popo tongues, which you were supposed to be able to carve off of them. And you get 2 carves off of each, and I will go out and sometimes kill a popo and just carve 2 tongues off of it.
Huh.
Recently, I killed a Boldrome, got 3 carves off of it. All of them were Bullfango heads. And then in the
Okay.
materials that I got as rewards at the end of the quest, I got yet another Bullfango head.
Where are you going?
I'm waiting for one to respawn, but it's not happening, so...
Just move on.
I don't know what other areas they're in, though, and I don't want to go to 5. 5 is not a good area. I want to go to 10, because I want to check for monsters that weren't there during the Gendrome mission, but I'm betting are there now.
Okay.
Is it cats, or is it the Neopterans that no, it's these guys. Fuck you. I hate you. You're not what I wanted to fight. Like, specifically not the thing I wanted. Let's see if there's anything out here. Probably not. Probably not.
The 2 things that you
Couple of
need for your
Apteros.
missions.
Yeah.
If you had yourself, what are they called? Hermitars?
Okay.
If you had one as a pet, what would you name it?
Mr. Krabs. Like, what? I don't know. What would you name it?
What was the
It's
name
a
of that
hermit crab.
shrimp with the French accent from the Muppets?
I
want to
don't-
say
I
Pepe,
actually
but I
don't remember.
shouldn't
It
name
might
anything
be
Pepe.
I think it is Pepe.
So assume that the internet was never invented, and then I can name it after that Muppet.
I never had a hermit crab as a kid. I
Me
knew a lot of
neither.
people who had hermit crabs, but that was a pet that I always wanted, and my parents never let me have.
Oh. I always wanted a rat.
Yeah, I always liked the idea of hermit crabs because they look so weird but so cool.
Yeah, and apparently, so long as you set things up right, they are great pets.
Yeah, apparently.
Like, they're
Oh, that's
more responsive than, like, you'd expect out of something
It's a
like
jerk
that.
move.
Like, they're not fish. They don't just sit there and do nothing.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. Are they supposed to be smart? They're not supposed to be super
They're crabs. They're
Yeah.
They're not that smart.
They're not like, I don't know. Like, I know certain fish are supposed to be slightly smarter than you expect,
Yeah,
but in like
no,
a
they're
they'll follow you
crustaceans.
around
They're
way.
really not smart. It's crabs are. I mean, I'm not going to call them stupid either, but like they're
do they
not that intelligent.
do they display emotion in any way that a human
No.
could read?
No.
Okay. No,
to my knowledge,
there's something
no.
that I've heard somewhere where it's like you can kind of tell when they're happy or something. I don't know.
Maybe you can tell when they're content because they're not dying or something. but,
Maybe,
like,
maybe
that's different.
I don't know.
Oh,
I
there's like
genuinely-
a single cephalos in here, just here.
A large part of what I consider to be good for like design on monsters and stuff, and good for those are Ultroths. Okay, just ants. But like
Yeah.
in general, just good for like me
let's
not
start
letting a
with
pet
this.
die of neglect sort of stuff. Is like, can I tell what it wants?
No,
Can it
I'm pretty
express
sure you
that it
can't
is
with
happy or
crabs,
sad?
no.
It's like I
Although,
don't know. I maybe I'm thinking of some other thing that you wouldn't expect to express emotion.
Crabs and lobsters grow indefinitely,
Weird.
which is pretty fun. Some people don't know this. I think I probably stated this on stream or in a video or something before, but crabs and lobsters both lack the... there is a part of your body where every time you grow, like as you grow, your cells lose a certain amount of your genetic code, and that's what causes the aging process. Effectively,
Oh,
it's
here's the
that
cats.
yeah. Well, it's well, what are the cats going to be out in the desert? They want to find someplace cool.
Well, I don't know. They got to travel somehow.
Now they hang out in here because it's probably wetter in here than anywhere else. That area, by the way, over there, looks like you should be able to mine it, and it would be super great if you did, but if you mine it, you just get like the big chunky ores that you have to carry around,
Oh.
like eggs.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. So crabs and lobsters both don't have the part of their genetic structure or the part of their cell structure that breaks down their genes as cells reproduce. So with reproduction of cells, there's like a 0.00001% chance, right, that you're gonna have loss of genes, which is the leading cause of cancer, for instance, and is also the leading cause of like actually physically aging. That's the aging process in a nutshell, is that your cells are kind of, coming undone as time goes on. Crabs and lobsters are not like that. So as a direct result, they just grow forever. The cool thing about them, though, the thing that keeps them in check so that they don't become giants, is that they have to molt. Typically once a year, sometimes a little more spread out than that. And their having to molt is what can sometimes kill the larger ones. Because if a really, really big crab or a really, really big lobster
You did get 2 livers.
Told you. Decides that it needs to molt, it's harder for them to molt than it is for smaller crabs or smaller lobsters to molt.
I once saw an accelerated GIF of, I think it was a tarantula shedding a skin.
Yeah.
I like spiders. That shit was still creepy.
Yeah, so if a lobster or a crab has to molt and it's very large, it can sometimes get stuck in its own shell. And then it's literally like being trapped in a, prison that your body created. Like, just a horrible biological prison that you will be stuck in forever. And then eventually they grow inside of it, and it becomes too much, and they will suffocate or they will just straight up die. It'll
if you
crush them to
had
death.
some bizarre motivation to assist a crab in removing that, like, surgically?
You cannot,
No?
without killing the crab.
Okay, so
It
there's
would
no
be
way to assist it.
extremely difficult. You might be able to do it if you're like a zoologist. You might have
like
some
for
kind
science.
of conduct. There might be some kind of scientific conduct set up where like you could go in and you could do it, but it would be extremely difficult because underneath that, their new shell is very, very pliable and very, very sensitive.
Yeah, but if you had, like, super, like,
for what not to.
precise nanobots and the funding
Well, I don't
and
think it would take
something you were hoping to learn from assisting it, it could potentially just keep growing.
Yeah. Potentially.
In theory.
In
Although it
theory,
could just, like, turn out that's false.
well, in theory, it could also be that you could, in the wild, I mean, you can find large crabs and lobsters because they've just gotten lucky with all of their molts. It happens.
Okay.
That's one of those things where it's like, yeah, honestly, if they keep getting lucky, a crab or a lobster could live to be, like, infinite years old and could potentially grow to be the size of a house. Like that. Or bigger, even, because they permanently grow. They never stop. So long as they can find food enough to nourish themselves, they're fine. And they can continue to be fine forever. Which is terrifying. It's a really scary thought when you realize that, like, there could be crabs out there the size of cars that exist at the ocean bottom, and we just don't know because there's no reason for us to have found the one crab that does.
When
Or
we
something.
find him, are you naming him Mr. Krabs?
Yeah, I'll name that one Mr. Krabs. His name will be Eugene.
There's been stranger things. Isn't there a no, I think it's a specific part of the genome for hedgehogs. It was just called the Sonic Hedgehog gene because they
I
just
have
couldn't
no
think
idea.
of
Probably.
something.
I don't know what it does.
No, I don't know either.
Cuttlefish are immune to Alzheimer's. Sharks never get cancer.
How would you know if a cuttlefish had Alzheimer's?
Apparently it's because a certain part of the brain doesn't release certain chemicals in
And
cuttlefish. or
Their
something
brain
like
is structured similar enough to a
that.
human's that we
I
can
have
compare?
no idea. I don't know. They're
The
mollusks.
ocean is-
You'd think that they wouldn't be.
The ocean is so full of questions.
Well, it's right up there with because of the way that soft-bodied mollusks work on top of that. There's technically no evolutionary tree for the octopus because we've never found any fossils that look like they might be transitional octopi fossils.
Yeah, but they're soft tissue, so it might
Yeah,
not
exactly.
be
Like,
conclusive.
you just think that it wouldn't exist because it's a fossil.
Yeah.
It typically requires something hard. Like, even beaks, though, of octopuses don't exist in the fossil record. Squids, yes. Octopuses, no.
And there's a distinct way to tell which is which?
Yes, because of the
Okay.
way that the beak is
All
shaped.
right. Huh.
Yeah,
That's why
it's-
people think
it's confusing.
octopus are from space.
There was a scientific journal printed that said that, but that was a joke, and people didn't quite get it.
Okay. The fact that scientific journals sometimes have jokes is
It was...
a weird concept for the layman.
Yeah, so the idea is that they wanted to present it because somebody else made a comment in a scientific journal that was taken seriously, that was something along the lines of, like, because we don't have this particular bit of information, it's nearly my mama's birthday, and I want to bake her a berry shortcake. It's her favorite. Can you please get me the ingredients, please? Because we don't have this piece of information, we must therefore conclude that it doesn't exist. Or something like that. It's like, yeah, you can't make that assumption, especially in paleontology. You know what I mean.
In science.
Paleontology is what I was trying to say, but yes, in science.
But, like, yeah, just the idea that they sometimes troll each other is
It
something you
happens.
wouldn't expect. You'd think, oh, it's science, it's serious, right? All the time. It's like, no, every so often you do get someone warning you about, like, dihydrogen monoxide poisoning. And all of that kind of thing. Did it take you a second?
But water poisoning is a thing, is what I was going to say. It's called drowning.
Yeah, I mean, no, you can actually overdose on water, but it is
yeah, but it takes a lot of
extremely
water.
unlikely.
It happens every so often. I think it has to be accompanied by an extreme amount of physical labor as well. It's literally like you have to be sweating water out at almost the same pace you're taking it in. Which is why the only time that I've ever heard of people dying from water poisoning is during, a frat what's the word?
Hazing?
Yeah, during hazing and stuff like that.
I've heard other stuff, but I feel like we're just going to start giving death stories.
Yeah, that's
like,
fine.
nah.
We shouldn't talk about that. That's fine.
And just every so often you'll get like science stuff where they just phrase things in this way that's just, oh, it's science humor, but it sounds like regular science if you don't know what you're hearing. So isn't that what Schrodinger's cat was originally, sort of?
Sort of, and people misinterpret that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, people just want another cool reason to have a weird, mysterious cat motif in things.
Oh, okay.
Because cats are cool.
Leave me alone. I'm trying to check this thing. Okay, I don't need your heavy jelly. Go away.
Something about the way you said that was
Look,
like...
it gave me heavy jelly. I don't want it. A lot of larval extracts
this
in this
dinosaur
one.
wiggles its butt at you and you're like,
Fire
I don't
inversion.
need your heavy jelly.
More
It's
heavy
like,
jelly.
what does that mean?
I'm actually picking it up out of these cactuses.
Yeah, it's probably just like aloe vera goop or something.
I mean, it could be. What I need it for is for insect glaive stuff, and I don't have any reason to have insect glaive.
Yeah.
Stuff because I
I've
don't
never
use an
figured that
insect
shit
glaive.
out.
I don't like the insect glaive. I have figured it out in the past, and then half the time I just completely strip it out of my brain because I never want to really touch it. To be real,
What is that smelly fish corpse?
It's in
flower?
front of a bunch of worms, I believe.
Huh.
I believe.
Weird.
Oh, hey, that monster's here.
Huh?
These are Khonshu.
Huh.
Check them out. Khonshu have a very unique defense mechanism.
They dance?
Well, that's their attack mechanism. This is their defense mechanism.
Oh.
They roll up into a ball. They're fucking adorable. They are literally invincible in that ball. You have to hit them when they're in the ball to hit them out of the ball. But you can't break that. That's literally
That's
like
pretty
the
cute.
highest armor class in the game.
So they're pillbug lobsters.
Kind of, because the desert in Monster Hunter has a lot of fish for some weird reason.
I mean, there's lots of, like, aquatic fossils in the desert, because there used to be water over.
Yeah. Well, typically, if you look at a desert, most deserts used to be oceans or something like that, yeah. Doink.
Yeah, like, you can find, like a lot of,
Oh, my cats didn't kill you? I thought they...
really
the cat killed it.
cool-ass, like, ancient, like, aquatic reptile fossils in, like, Egypt, for example.
Yeah. Parts of Africa have some of the best collections of, like, trilobites
Yeah.
ever. Some
Yeah.
of them get really intense and look really weird, and I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's, like, that's why you'll sometimes see in things, like, just, like, a beautiful desert scene and then, like, a massive whale skeleton sticking out of stuff. Like, there's a reason people like to stick whale skeletons in desert settings. I think there's a couple of those in Breath of the Wild.
I
Three
used
of them,
to,
actually.
when I went to go and visit my grandfather, we would visit a... There's a part of the desert in Arizona that used to be under the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to go out there all the time and go fossil hunting. And I have a ton of fossilized fish from just doing that. That's also, I think I mentioned, like, what, you've never seen a geode? I have a bunch. That's where they came from. I've just got, like, tons of geodes from that as well.
Yeah, well, I'm from a volcanic island that
That's
was
fine.
produced in the time since dinosaurs,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
you know. We have, I'm sure we discussed this, that we have corpses instead. You've got ancient Hawaiian private family burial sites that you aren't supposed to touch because that's human remains, don't touch those. But they're unmarked. You're not supposed to tell people where you've put your family
Fucking stealing
because
my kill. What a dick.
the idea is that the largest concentration of power and the Hawaiian word for that kind of thing is mana. That's where that comes from in video games. The highest concentration of it is in bones. So if you get a hold of someone's bones, you could like curse them or whatever. So I mean, not curse the dead, but like
I mean, you could curse the
it's
dead.
bad shit. Like you don't want anyone to get a hold of the bones of your family. So like they're unmarked graves and they're small.
Yeah,
they're like
yeah.
personal family stuff. It's like someone goes and takes care of it because their family knows it. You know, fast forward several centuries and we're building Walmarts over them. And every so often they'll dig a foundation for a building and come across like skulls. And it's like, yeah, you got to talk with the museum, and the archaeological teams go out, and it's like there's government rules about it. But we do not have dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Or anything like them.
So every time you bounce off of these guys, by the way, it also does some damage to your sharpness. So your sharpness goes down very fast
sense.
when you're hunting conchs specifically.
I'm guessing they have an armor set?
I believe they have at least one piece of armor. I don't think it's a full set.
Oh, okay.
I'm just
they're
trying to
small.
pick up some of the stuff off of them. They sometimes drop armor spheres, which is weird. I'm actually surprised they drop
are an armor sphere.
3 different items, not including the armor spheres, like 3 unique monster drops. And I've only gotten 2 of them, and I'm confused as to why that is.
Huh.
Because they're supposed to have 1 more, and I'm not seeing it. It's kind of bugging the hell out of me.
At least they spawn fast.
Mm-hmm.
If you had one of these as a pet, what would you name it?
Oh, I don't know. Bug. I don't know. That would
I'm
be a
gonna
weird
say Citizen
name.
Snips.
Yeah, Citizen Snips is a good one.
Good Futurama reference.
Sure. They kind of look like coconut crabs.
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna come back to this eventually, and I'll do this off screen where I'm grinding for their other drop. I gotta find these goddamn tropical berries. Because that's what I'm after now, right? I'm positive.
Yeah, pretty sure.